Hello and welcome to a Radio Roundtable. I'm your host, Patience Blay, and tonight I have with me my co-host, James Jensen, and we have our panelists, and they will be introducing themselves. So I want to say welcome to the program, to a Radio Roundtable. Do us a favor, share the broadcast, make your comments, and if we do have time, we will look into some of the comments tonight. I want to give time to our guests or our panelists to introduce themselves properly, and then right after, Mr. Jensen will be giving his opening comments. Welcome. You are welcome tonight. And we want to start with Stalin.
All right. My name is Stalin Garner. Originally from Grand Bassa County. I used to be the managing editor for the first newspaper that was established in Grand Bassa County, and then I was a station manager for Liberty Radio. I'm currently based in Gettysburg, Maryland. Um, so that's where I am. I'm also a minister as well of the gospel.
Thank you, Stalin. Thank you. Wow, the first newspaper. What is that newspaper? I don't know.
Paso Times.
Parcel Times?
Yeah,
I got more questions, but anyway, let's go back to our intro.
sure.
Mr. Jones?
So I'm Chuchu Alex Jones, presidential aspirant, and I'm basically here today to give my views on the program. Uh, Background is in finance and business economics. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. We're so welcome. And Mr. Jensen?
Well, again, I want to say thanks to our guest and to you also, Patient, for able managing our two-year radio. I'm James N. Jensen, and serving as co-host today. I am going to listen more to a lot of concerns or discussions that will be geared towards helping Liberia to get on track with the governance process and unfolding events, and we'll see how the discussion will go. I'm glad to be here, and thanks to uh, the president in waiting and Mr. Alex Jones and our newest brother on the platform. I want to say thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for your introductions. Tonight, we will be discussing a couple of issues, but first, our first discussion is centered around the just ended county meet. There was a lot of momentum, and it's a way in which we unite. And at this event, you see that people from different counties, the discussion is all over, and people are eagerly waiting to be part of the game and to know the results. And after everything is said and everything is done, what next? We want to know what next. So the first thing is, I just want to know how did you feel about the county meet? We'll start with Mr. Sterling.
Well, I think the counter meet is a very, very powerful gathering. Um, I think it's the biggest sport event in the country, and it brings the country together in such a way that it's just so unique. Um, People are celebrating their counties, and there's a lot of enthusiasm. There's a lot of interest in the county meet. In fact, like I was saying, yeah, I mean, which I would try to say, elaborate on it more. I was even thinking and even suggesting that the county league should even replace the national league. I mean, because the county league has so much momentum and there is so much resources generated from the county league. But I think it's a good thing. It unites the country. It's a very powerful platform. And yeah, so basically that's what I would say with respect to the county league.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, I think it's a great program. I think, unlike the National League, it tends to represent people from every part of Liberia. and it has a lot of momentum because people are very supportive of the different clubs, county clubs. My only hope would be that it could be more transformative, where it's not played in the capital, that the final should be played in the hometowns, and people should be able to move from one place to watch a game, and that should bring about development and economic growth if they spend it towards that level.
Okay, and Mr. Jesse, you can make a comment and ask your question.
Well, I am thinking first and foremost what was the purpose for the county meet, and I really didn't follow the county meet from start to finish. Was the county meet intended to set a stage for the upcoming elections? Was it more political to get Liberians, attention towards uh, governance? Was it um, intended to bring young people together? Why the counter meet has not been a continuous year-to-year activities? Why 2020, 15, 6, 2020, what, 2022, 23, right? But
Mm.
besides all of those concerns, I'm more concerned about funds being generated. Now, I know of the Liberia Football Association um, that deals with primarily the first division league clubs. All right, like Matty Barrow talk about um, um, IE, and many other new clubs were added to the Liberia First Division League. Now, I'm still wondering whether the LFA is indeed um, on the youth and sport ministry, or LFA is just standing by herself. I may not have all the idea, but maybe our panelists or discussants will be able to give us more idea. So these are issues. Now, is LFA being controlled by the Liberia Football Association, being controlled by the Ministry of Youth and Sport? Because until we can know the line between these two institutions, we probably may be speaking out of guessing our way out of the concerns. Because, for example, I want to know all of the money collected. First thing in Liberia, many people don't give accounts. Mary Broad came, collected all the resources from the streets, said she collecting money from car lots of car parked on the streets. Nobody gave account of those of the funds. Now counter meets come, people generate a lot of money. What happens to it? Do we look up to LFA for answers, or do we look up to the Minister of Youth and Sport for answers? So these are some of my concerns. But as the discussion goes, maybe I will throw in more light. But those are my concerns: the LFA and the Minister of Youth and Sport. What is the difference? Who is responsible for the money that was collected? Are they depositing the money into government revenue so that national government can prioritize, can set, can apportion, revenue being generated into the different aspect of, programs that can help benefit the youth or the people of Liberia?
You want to respond to that, Chuchu?
Yeah, I mean, Jesse is right in terms of the accountability that.
You want to respond to that, Chuchu?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, yes, I said Jesse is right about the accountability, and also the measurement. You can manage what you can measure. How much is being raised? What are the costs? Where's the money going? In whose account? Who's responsible? Are there committees to set up to determine, all right, we made X amount of money. We need to build new stadiums, or we need to renovate this existing stadium. So those things are unfortunately not done in Liberia. It appears to be the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and the president makes all those decisions. LFA is a private organization. It's a social. I mean, it's a national club. Same thing with the Premier League or the NFL. Yeah, it should be completely independent of the government, and the government should only be regulating LFA. It shouldn't be a part of any money collection or any decision making. So, but that's not how it is, unfortunately. So, hopefully, with better leadership, we can differentiate the two, that the LFA funding and programs, and including the county meets, the funds generated will be distributed not just to the associations or the counties, but also to the players. The players, to pay them adequately, to make sure that the vendors, the people who are involved with the process, LFA should be a multi-million-dollar organization at this time. I mean, this is the organization that was set up, I believe, in I think 1941. And look at it today. They don't even have a website. They generate money. At least I was researching. So I mean, it's all a failure in terms of leadership. And that's just one example where talented people go and play every year after year. Tens of thousands of people show up and pay money, and there's no accountability whatsoever, no oversight, no board of directors, nothing. So I'll stop there.
Stanley, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, first of all, let me first correct some few things there. What Jensen said, that the county meet, is it political? Why is it being played at this time? The truth of the matter is that the county league is every year. The county league, as far as I have followed, the county league after, or the county meet, whatever, after the war, the county meet has been consistent. We have had the county meet every year. I mean, after the war, most especially when President Ellington suddenly came to power, they started the county meet. I remember the county meet of 1989 that Grand Bassa won, and then that was when the war just started, and it was singing Obasa, run, 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 the rebel coming, stuff like that. But the county meet is every year. The county meet is not just this year, and the county meet happens around the end of the year. So we got to get that first. Number two, the LFA, the Liberian Football Federation, is an autonomous football body, separate from the Ministry of Youth and Sport. The Youth and Sport does not interfere in the LFA. The LFA also does not interfere in the Youth and Sport. That's the reason why the SKD Sports Stadium is managed by the Youth and Sport. The ATS is managed by LFA. LFA manages the ATS. LFA is responsible for the running of the. LFA is like a sub body of FIFA, CAF, then LFA. I think they have the West African body as well. So it comes from FIFA, which is the world body, and then it comes to CAF, which is Africa, and then it comes, I think, WAFU, the West African football body, then LFA. So LFA is quite different from the government. Anytime, I think it's on record, every time the government tries to interfere in LFA, FIFA always step in. Government cannot interfere in LFA running. No. Now, the Ministry of Youth and Sport, that's a governing body of sport activities in the country. LFA is just for football. LFA is just only for football. The Ministry of Youth and Sport is governing body for sport. That's why the county meet is not just football. The county meet is football, is kickball, is basketball, is volleyball. I think they want to increase it to other sports. So that's just the basic. Now on the issue of the accountability, that is a separate thing altogether, which I would partly agree. We have an accountability challenge in in Liberia, we do have an accountability challenge in Liberia, but those basic first has to be established about the county meet. I have some issues with the funds being generated because I got some information that Aslam Mita, I think at one point in time the GSM companies were major donors or sponsors, pardon me, not donor, but major sponsors for the county meet. And winners bet, I learned winner bet even gave the best players and the most valuable players, they gave I think $1 million or so Liberian dollars. Winner bet placed a lot of money into the county meet sponsorship. So a lot of those corporate institutions put money into the county meet. So the issue of accountability is extremely needed. My thing is because I hear from Grand Basel County and I follow the preparation of the Basel team with respect to the county meet, and there is this back and forth when it comes to preparation and raising money. And what I was told was that the Ministry of Youth and Sports gave each county $7,500 US dollars for preparation for the county meet. I think that is extremely small. I think that is very inadequate.
Can I ask you a question? In what you just said, so if the LFA is an autonomous agency and they are collecting county money,
no, the LFA does not supersede the county meet. It's a Ministry of Youth and Sports that runs the county meet.
Okay, the Ministry of Youth.
Yeah, the LFA has nothing to do with the county meet.
Okay, got it.
The funds goes directly to the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Okay.
The LFA only runs the National League, the IM Barrow and LPRC, Oilers and stuff like that. That's what the LFA deals with. And that's what the National League is played at the ATS, which is under the LFA. The LFA controls the ATS. The LFA does not control the SKD. The SKD is controlled by the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
So the county meet is played at the Anthony Tottenham Stadium.
No, the county meet is played at the SKD.
Okay, but the government owns the SKD, correct?
Definitely.
Okay, so that's why. Okay, I get it. So that's why they all right, I got it. So that means the funds that is generated goes directly into the national account.
Well, when you say national account, I will not say yes. I will not say no. I know it goes into the Ministry of Youth and Sports account. And if you want to say the Ministry of Youth and Sports is national account, that's fair enough.
Right.
But I know it goes to the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Okay, so it goes to the Ministry of Youth and Sports account. Do we have an account or anywhere on the Youth and Sport website or any document as far as how much has been earned over the last few years?
Well, that's a very good question. And you'll not believe I've been asking that question for a couple of while now. How much is generated from the county meet? What is it? The first thing is that you go on the Ministry of, I have a background in technology. You go on the Ministry of Youth and Sport website. There's absolutely nothing on the Ministry of Youth and Sport website. That's a Ministry of Youth and Sport.
I get it, yeah.
The website is very scanty. There's not much details on the website. They get the Minister of Youth and Sport picture on the website. That's the biggest news on the Ministry of Youth and Sport website, with some few press statements and what have you. There's not much on the Ministry of Youth and Sport website.
Well, the website looks like any other website in Liberia. Most of the ministries, their website is like that. You can find current information. I went to the website today of the embassy of Liberia, Washington, and the information I was looking for, I didn't see it. So that is not strange to us. But if people collecting all the fees and they getting all these sponsorship and all that, so what is then what do they use the main the proceeds that come from the game itself? What is it used for? because some of the during the county meet, we saw people trying to prepare the fee, the different soccer pitch and all that. People were trying to make preparations so the team can be able to have something that is ready and prepared for the next team to come, so they can be able to play. So some of the fees that were not adequately prepared, but yet and still they have some makeshift something that they could use. So if they're getting money or proceeds from this gate intake every year, who's responsible now to take care of all these football fees across the counties?
Let me just say something before the guys come in. One of the promises this government made is that they were going to build, I think if I'm not mistaken, they said they were going to build 7 stadiums around the country. In fact, one of the initial statements that came from the president, which was I saw that as very encouraging, when the president said they were going to decentralize football. They were going to decentralize football, that they were going to decentralize the National League and put in different counties. That was a very welcoming news, but unfortunately, nothing happened. It's very ironic that you have a president who came to prominence through football, but had no clear-cut layout strategy and program for the game, for sport. Just sport. And sport, even though sport is for entertainment, but sport also creates jobs. It does
economic activity. Sports generate one of the largest economic activities in many countries.
Definitely. It creates a lot of jobs. And it engages the young people. But unfortunately, the county meet is finished. You're not going to hear anything again until next year, December. And then everybody will come out again. The county meet has started again. And then people will be struggling, and then counties will be like, "Oh, we don't have preparation." Look at what I was following what even I always use Grand Bazaar as an example. I follow what happened in Grand Bazaar, that the team prior to even their last game, they were kicked out of their hotel and placed on the street. Can you imagine? The team was kicked out of the hotel and placed on the street, and then they had to go and renegotiate with the. It's because a league like the county meet should be a league where you should be able to spark talents. It should be a program, like you understand, where you groom talents and you raise up stars for. That tells you that we are serious about football in the country, or serious about sports in the country. But obviously we are not serious. We just play lip service. The people love the game, but the government has no interest. The government play lips, and the thing about it, even the current youth and sport minister is a former football player. He was a goalkeeper. I know this guy. He used to be on the Oro. He used to go racing. I used to go and watch the guy wasn't playing on the Oro Smiro there. They made right in Smiro. That's a football player. So can you just imagine you have a current football player who is the minister of youth and sport. You have a current world best who is a president, and our sport is. Darryl Dillon would say is in the toilet.
Well, let me just share this piece of information here. I'm looking at the budget under the Ministry of Youth and Sports for 2023, and it says the total amount for the SKD stadium allocated is $50,000
for the SKD.
For the SKD.
For what? For cleaning or renovation, for what?
Well, all they put there is SKD Sports Complex, so that's for the maintenance of it. Okay. Staff local training $400. Operational expense $0. Guards and security services $44,000, and vehicle insurance $1,500. So that's $1.2 million budget for the entire Ministry of Youth and Sports in the 2023 draft budget that I'm looking at. On that end, so let me go further. Yeah, should be more. But yeah, I'm just saying. So the question now, how much you think this league generated? And not just one.
That's a big question.
Well, I think the fact that you have this structure now, I'm not too much into sports, so you will hear less from me. But I would like to look at the governance of sports. You have Liberal Football Association, you have Ministry of Youth and Sports, and I think when you talk about sport, it is inclusive of football. So there are times when you have these kinds of games, I would think those who are, like, for example, the president saying he gets, he's from the football background, he should have decided, like you said, if you wanted to have uh, sports decentralized, meaning have counties, maybe major counties will have stadium, and they have the administration of maybe Ministry of Youth and Sport or LFA going to the different counties and then set up their structure in there. Have these county meets starting at those major stadium, and maybe the climax could be in Monrovia itself. Like that, you have
I think they
people
do that.
involved. They do that. Okay,
Yes,
but this is the issue. The financial aspect, you have the national legislature. They have a committee on youth and sport.
Right.
I know nothing about.
I think Darius Dillon is the chairman for that commission.
Okay,
Yeah, but that
so then I'm not sure they have a committee on LFA.
Well, that committee is have oversight over all sports, including
All sports, very well. So then that's the reason why I was looking at Ministry of Youth and Sport. Now I don't have the act with me, so I wouldn't be able to say.
But the act is right, yeah. The act is in the budget, and the total amount for sports Ministry of Youth and Sport, I think it's 6 million. Let me get it.
Okay, so this county meet that just ended, I think those who have oversight responsibility are the one to ask the relevant questions. Because even if we had the minister here, he wouldn't have told us how much have been generated and what they're going to do with that money. Besides that, what is happening with LRA? I think that's revenue being generated. The people's money, people go on the field, they go on the field, and then they spend their dollars to watch a game. Money is generated. And now, like Ministry of Youth and Sport is in the national budget. They have budgeted for them. That means all of the activity is covered by the national budget.
Correct.
So the money they have gotten from the counter meet or other sporting activities, what do they do with it? Because if we're discussing Liberia's development, these are the leakages. And I think how to control those things is all about, people making profound decisions, and like the legislature, since they have oversight, they should be asking the questions. How much did you generate? Like the brother said, for the past years, if you haven't counted meet, if that is the case, what has happened? Year one on we as governments, what was generated? How much did they generate? What did they do with that? Year two, what is it? Year three, year four, and year five. So if you check, if we had a figure or there was a website where we could get the information, or rightly, we would have said, well, for the past 5 years, maybe $100 million was generated, and then people would start to ask questions, why is the sporting activity like this? Even Weah himself, I would think Weah is not really doing a better service when it comes to sports, because he's, I would say, Liberia best, Africa best, like Prince Joseph would say, European best, and all of the best. It is unfortunate that Weah himself don't even have a sporting account.
Yeah,
right?
but Jansen,
But the fact that you're setting over the country's money,
should
be.
Yes,
we should use the youth and sport.
Go ahead, but I just wanted to interject.
No, go ahead.
But we are, and I think it's not fair, because like the gentleman just said, yeah, LFA is a autonomous organization, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Somebody's trying to lock in, right?
He's trying to come in.
Who?
Somebody's trying to cut in.
Yeah, but I gotta see.
You were just saying, yeah, I'm just looking at the budget, so please forgive me.
Go ahead.
But that LFA is an autonomous institution. That means all the money that generates on the National League for all these many years, they have the authority over it. They have their own elections. They have their own elected chair. I think Musa Benede was the chair before, correct? And they get a lot of money from FIFA.
Definitely.
They get a lot of money from FIFA. So before we even go to the president, okay, what has happened to the LFA and the Anthony Tottenham Stadium and the development of the leagues in Liberia, whether it's just in the city, because the leagues can expand with all the government. If you had a real good LFA chairman and a real good LFA administrators, the funding that they are gathering from all these different programs, they own the stadium. So even when there's a concert, they get the intake for you, correct?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, that should be at least $100 million company, or institution by now.
So you're talking two different things. Yeah, you're talking about LFA at the same time. You're talking about the Ministry of Youth and Sport managing the county meet and sport activity.
Yes.
So that's two separate things you are talking at the same time.
Well, the reason why I'm trying to break it up, because Jeff was saying the president. Okay, and I don't even when it comes to the Ministry of Sports and the county meet.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a committee on sports.
Yeah.
That is support that who is being paid $15,000 a month, right? To make sure that the public gets accountability on every penny that is raised from the county meet. That information is published. They report on how much they made, how much they spent, how much went over to the government, how much it.
Let me hold you there a little bit.
Okay.
For me, I think we expect too much from the legislature.
Okay.
In Liberia, which based on the structure and the way our governance is structured, you can't really get that. The legislature is a toothless Buddha. The executive can hand twist the legislature into what they want them to do. Our legislators are not as independent as they should be as compared to other legislators. And the reason is simple. The reason is because the executive controls the purse. The executive controls the money.
I disagree.
Let me just end with you. Go and ask which ministry, not just the Ministry of Youth and Sport now, which ministry, since this government took over, has actually made the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance is supposed to do budget performance regularly. When was the last time the finance minister ever gave budget performance report? The lawmaker they're talking from now to Judgment Day, they have not come. They will not come. They will say, "Oh, the charge with contempt." It's just all. It's just our stories because at the end of the day, money.
Sterling, here's why I don't understand. People say they won't go in the House of Representatives to make a difference. Okay? The Constitution says you have 3 equal branches of government.
Granted.
Nothing can happen in Liberia without the approval of these committees. Budget cannot pass to get to the president's desk if the Finance Budgetary Committee don't approve it or hold their meetings. All it takes for one representative or a committee to prevent it from happening, and you get a shutdown in government because there's no other way the president or the government. So are you telling me that of all the 72 people over there, right, that you don't have one person that is capable of knowing what their job is as a lawmaker, that they all are just
talking? What has he accomplished?
No, but the question is not talking.
It's about numbers.
The question is not talking.
Yeah, they're causing the president man. They're causing the president part. What did they accomplish?
But hang on.
Okay, guys.
Sterling.
Because he's frustrated.
Can I say something? Can I say something?
Okay.
It's not a question.
It's a question. Mr. Jones And Sterling,
Can I
yeah,
can I say something?
Go
I
ahead.
think that we are going into governance, and
we live in
as
a
much
sport.
as we have to recognize that there should be uh, a committee, a legislative committee on youth and sports. The issue as to whether government or ministries and agencies are living up to the standards of making sure that they report to the legislature for legislature to check them, that's governance, and we should be going to be careful before we go on that side. But what is more important for which I want to call the attention to all of us is that um, if Darrell DeLone is the committee chair on youth and sports, Darrell DeLone should not be saying that the executive is overly powerful and cannot allow him to even give the public, information, or force the governing body, the youth and sport ministry, to give an update to the legislature, so the legislature themselves will be able to give that relevant information
That's
to
my
the public.
point.
You know,
Darrell
That is
DeLone
my
is a
point.
chair on youth and sport.
You're right.
Who is a chair on the executive? It's not city. It's not that's I just said the chair on the executive. Who is the chair
right.
on finance? Who determines what a budget pass? That can talk for nothing. That cannot stop Ministry of Youth and Sport budget from passing because what?
Yes.
They're not in the majority. The president called the point. The budget
Yeah.
have to pass. They call for the president for. Gentlemen, the budget need to pass. Watch the next budget can be passed. The next budget is about to pass. Nothing they will do. CDC control the house.
Said it. I said it.
I mean,
we
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 I
want to recognize Michael. I don't know whether he can hear us. Michael, can
Bro,
you hear
I
us?
understand everything he's saying. But the
Okay.
thing is that the way our network is structured.
Okay, Chuchu and Sterling, hold on, please. Michael, can you hear us?
I'm very yeah. I hear you people very clearly. Let me say good evening to you people and a good morning from my end. And Payville, Monrovia, Liberia, and I've been following you people from the onset of the discussion, and it sounds so great and motivational indeed to in our culture and our society, but it sounds pathetic some ways due to the actions of our government. Our government from time immemorial, not even this one, relative to the way treated have been put into place irregularly, devilishly towards our people, on a daily basis. I just kept, listening to Brother that's Mr. Garnier with that that's Mr. Choo Jones. Yeah, I'm just very much happy to be on the show, and I'm listening. If more questions or if question will come to me, and then I will go there. But I want
We are
to leave
talking
my
about Michael. We are talking about the proceeds that come from the county meet, and we see that before the meet started, there were counties that were making preparation, and some of them did not even make adequate preparation because they didn't have the funding. So what has been happening to previous, funds that were generated from the county meet, and what is going to happen to this one, and how much did it raise?
Thank you so much, Madame Blay. This has rings bell in the ears of Liberians in and out of Liberia concerning how Ministry of Youth and Sport will give a kind of what have been raised through the admission fees and all of the other fees that were attached, and people went about pay it, and even other local media or radio stations across Liberia have been discussing it quite recently after the march was taken down or was brought to end. But it's very much bad to the extent that this weird government, there is a footballer turned president. Yeah, a footballer becomes president. Who said in a campaign message in 2017 that he will try to help Liberia in terms of sport and the blah 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 blah. And even a regime, he brought a former goalkeeper, make him minister of youth and sport, which with Liberian felt that he will be somebody good too, to be able to help Liberian youth who are actually into sporting activity to progress. But there is no accountability, and we are living a kind of we are living in kind of a very dormancy state. Let me be very frank with you. Everybody very careful here. You want to be very much critical. They go to chase you overnight and that, but there is no account. And I'm here. I went on the SKD. I'm very witness to this. The government raised more than $30 million because all the ape companies that were brought to Morovia, they are companies that have popularity and that have huge support. So if you look it up, and the minimum money or the minimum costs that were attached on the entrance or the admission fee per game before the grand final, it was $500 just around the fee for you to stay on your 2 feet from start to end. It was $500 around the fee. Okay. $10 stadium win, $40 US VIP, and there are a series of games played before the grand final. And even the very grand final, it ended up between a very populated 2 counties. That is Lofa with that Lofa and Nima County, and which on that very day, I want to project that the government through Ministry of Youth and Sport raised not less than $2 million United States dollars. But as we speak,
Michael, just a point, and I think your assumption is we shouldn't take that as Lord and Gospel. Is just a projection you're making, right?
Yeah, that's
yes,
do you have any document that you have seen?
I will say, Mr. Jensen, I will say it's a projection, but it's a very quiet information I give you because they are not waiting to let or to inform or to bring us to speak as to what what took place, what will perceive. They don't want to tell us, so we will just project because through our personal situation and what we have seen. You understand me? So I'm very much. I will not. Okay. I will say allegedly, because
if I can just come back to add to what he's saying, and I'll go back to what Mr. Sterling is saying. We're blaming the president for stuff that we should not be blaming the president for. It's not the president's job to figure out how many people come into the stadium, the maintenance of the stadium, if there's counting the national. It's not the president's job. Besides that, I think we put too much. We give, in Liberia, everything is the president.
No,
right?
I think if I may come in there, Tutu, there is no reason where you will have the grand final of a country. In fact, there should be a national report. There should be a summary report on the desk of the president. The Minister of Youth and Sports supposed to give an update to the president. Not just the Minister of Youth and Sport, every statutory official.
Not just to the president, the right? Congress, our legislator. That is their job. Their job is to make sure.
No, the Minister of Youth and Sport is not answerable. Listen, the Minister of Youth and Sport, in a very technical sense, is not accountable to the legislature. They can inform the legislature.
Reports to the president. Accountable to the people of Bro, which is through the House of Representatives. Yeah. They provide oversight for all the ministries.
And
that's why you have a committee on every different aspect of government. You have a youth and sport committee in the House and in the Senate. The reason is that no budget can be allocated for anything. Anything like with all that committee's approval. No law can be passed with all those committees first having the plenary and then before taking it all to the floor to vote. It's a very important role. The problem here is our legislators and our senators do not even know their own roles and responsibility. If they know it, I think then why are they okay? So let me ask you a question right now. We just play the county meet. I mean, we just play the county meet, right? Darrell's committee has the county meet. There were no report given.
Well, I think it's still too soon. I think it's still too soon for you.
Right. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Let's go to last year one. Let's forget about this year.
Okay, then yeah.
You have 1 year between last year to this year to make sure that the Ministry of Youth and Sports provide a report before this even county meet budget is approved. He did not do that. He did not do that.
One thing we can say, Mr. Chuchu, we have to be careful how we say things here because we are not hearing from the Youth and Sport Committee chair. Darrell Dillon is not, except where you're telling us that you try to get in contact with him and he told you
the man has
there is no report. It's very likely. The reason we're saying this, I'm aware that there's a law that every ministry and agency is supposed to report to the legislature every year, right?
Correct.
But the fact that I do not have information, I cannot sit here and say
office,
you did not submit that report.
That is my information. I take responsibility for it until you get information. Otherwise, you got to go by my information that we have.
Okay, Mr. President. When you become president, then of course maybe we'll let you know more. So that
what I'm saying here is this: we blame the government, the executive too much, and we have complete idiots in the House of Representatives. And what I mean by idiots, these people do not. Hold on now. These people
you cannot be calling our honorable men idiots on this platform.
Yeah, I think let us
They
discuss
are
the
honorable
issues.
men.
Idiot is not an insult. It means somebody who does not understand what it needs to do. That's what it means. And they don't know what they need to do. Yes, a House of Representatives and Senate that don't even have a website to report their own activity. Are those the people you expect to go and have a website to get account of the LFA and the county meet? These people don't even have a website for themselves. These people can't even tell you how many laws they pass in a given year. They collect tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars. They get $60 million almost every year. They get money for administration. They get money for research.
I think we have talked on youth and some of these issues. Definitely, we had to find a way of getting to Darrell Dillon. We will see whether we can get him appearing on the show. Maybe you can try as much as possible.
All he does is talks. He runs around and just talks
listen.
and blame the president for everything. But he's not doing his job.
No. I would differ with you because on this note, the Youth and Sport Minister should be informing the president. Should have given the president an update. Maybe they have done that and probably we don't have because the president himself.
And that's why I think Liberians don't understand governance, right? The Youth and Sport Minister serves as the will and pleasure of the president. Whether he gives report to the president or not is not the Liberian people's responsibility because he's not an elected official. The Liberian people elect the senators and the representatives to hold the government accountable. They are the first branch of government.
Right. But here's the thing. The structure of government, and that's why I don't want to go into the political setting of
before you go into other political talk. we'll save that discussion for another day.
Where people need to understand how governments function. If you don't,
Mr. Jones.
Let me just finish this last point.
Yeah.
People don't want to be educated on the functions of government. They don't want to know what the role of a senator is. You go and elect somebody who you don't even know what their role is supposed to be. That they are supposed to be making sure the money you're collecting, you're paying at sports stadium, they're supposed to make sure that a report is made. They have 1 year to do it for the last one. They do it. But they see people will come out and say, oh, the minister of youth and sport. The senator has the power to summon any document from the ministry.
But suppose, let me ask you a question. Suppose, Mr. Chuchu, suppose you sent from I'm Minister of Youth and Sport, right? You are the committee chair on youth and sport. You wrote me a nice letter citing me to appear before you, and I told you I'm not coming. Let's assume I'm just that arrogant. I tell you I'm not coming. What are you going to do?
You know what I would do? Guess what? In the draft budget is on now that you want $6.8 million is not coming to my committee.
But no, Juju, listen. let me tell you something. What you don't understand is that once a president becomes president, the president is interested in who has committees in the house.
That's not true.
And the president is going to make sure, I'm telling you.
That's not
The
true.
president, let me tell you.
But these are the politics. And so let's find the time to discuss.
The president will
discuss the
become
political
speaker.
The president of Liberia does not determine who has what committee in the House of Representatives or the House of Senate. The way that is determined, hold on now.
The president will not determine. But I'm telling you that
right here.
The president
Let me show you how that is.
Chuchu, the president will determine who will become speaker and who will become pro tem. And
That's
the president will become pro tem and speaker. And you see what?
That's not true. The reason why.
Look at the track record.
That's what I'm saying. Listen here. That's why I say people understand. If you
look at the track record, Chuchu.
Listen.
Was Buffer Chimo the most qualified to become speaker? No.
No.
How the Buffer Chimo become speaker? Buffer Chimo is a sedition. The president wanted Buffer Chimo to become speaker, so he became speaker. The system have a chair. When Ellen wanted to get and Tyler from that, she got Tyler out of that. When she wanted to get and Snow from that, she got Snow out of that.
Wait,
so the president.
Because you have, like I said, you have a lot of dumbfounded representatives and senators. Because if you're telling me that the president can call or elected official, senator or representative, and tell him, say, I want you to vote a certain way, or I want you to get rid of somebody, and that person can do it, then they don't.
That is how it works in Liberia. I've been there telling you.
Okay, guys. We have spoken enough.
The president.
That's why
Mr. Jones and
okay, thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you, Stalin. Thank you.
Yeah, we will probably, I think we'll talk to patient to organize something on governance so that we probably can discuss that and see which way it works.
You cannot discuss.
All right, but I know for sure politics. Chuchu, you've been out of Liberia for a long time, so you may not understand.
We have a constitution. We have the rules that how the government function. You don't need to be in Liberia to read it. You don't need to be in Liberia. This man here telling me. No, hang on here. You ask a question. This man telling me that the president can decide who go on what committee. You didn't. Obviously, he didn't take civic.
Yeah, he actually has a point, Chuchu.
And
you know why, Chuchu?
What's the point?
Chuchu, listen. The reason why I don't want to go too much into that.
It's not legal.
I would say they're in the center of
bad people and corrupt people. Who will compromise?
Okay, guys, we're going to be looking at Prince Johnson's statement. We will be looking at the statement
before that, I want to just say something. For example, since the government through Ministry of Youth and Sport, LFA or LFA, don't want to give her a account or to give her maybe a very clear report regarding the sport, the national county sport meet. I think if you've been sport having to take passive of that money or portion of that money to be able to send abroad some of our Google players from various counties, who will perform in the match, it will be a blessing to Liberia. Liberian will love it, but they will collect the money. They will not tell they will not do anything better with the money, and then we'll be waiting for another year. For now, the whole place, the whole sporting activity, most when it comes to youth and sport, it will be very much, it will be very much, let's just say it will be silent until next year. Next year, now
Michael, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You know why it's that way?
We have spoken a lot about sport.
They collect the money.
Representative. Hello.
They see representative and senator get a unto. That's why they're not sending your players abroad.
Okay, we will definitely have another round of discussion on that.
Let's go to the next topic.
Our next topic we have is Laymah County Senior Senator Prince Yomi Johnson, former INPFL leader, has spoken, and he spoke very tough recently. He said that there are plans by the city mayor of Monrovia, Mosovado County, Jefferson Koji, wanting to assassinate him. And he's calling on George Weah and other citizens to advise Koji that he's not he's he's not someone that can be easily assassinated. So he's calling on President Weah to warn or advise Jefferson Koji that he should not try to do that. And second to that, he's also pointing fingers at George Weah's performance. He says George Weah was voted in because, or he supported George Weah because he was world best, Africa best, European best, and so he thought that his presidency, the world would have pulled, towards Liberia in making sure that Liberia became developed. But to his surprise, that is not the case. He even stated in his recent interview that he was astonished when they were having the Independence Day celebration that people were sent at the U.S. Embassy where other political parties were assembling, and then they disrupt their programs. And he said those things are not healthy. Now, we want you all to have your say on this. And so I will want to hear from somebody who is in Liberia just for two minutes. And that is Michael. Michael, are you there?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, so did you hear this statement that was made by Prince Johnson?
Let me say yes. For the first sequence of his statement, which have to do with President Weah being a promise breaker. I heard it, but for the assassination, for alleged assassination message, maybe I just on the platform. I'm hearing it, but once it's on this platform, it means reliable. Yes. Well,
okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. We have the recording here, and let me see if I can upload it. But other than that, let's hear from you, Chuchu. That's the voice of. I know it will take a long time to get this thing uploaded, but that's what Prince Johnson said, and I did play that last night. God, let me see. But that's what it is. Prince Johnson is talking about assassination plot against him by Jefferson Koji.
Okay. Let me try to comment a little bit about what I know or what unfolding between the MDR, which was previously headed by Senator Johnson, that is now today Jeremiah Kwankun. Let me be very frank with you. I will serve as youth chair for Liberia Transformation Party in Laymah County in 2017 during the political transition year, and I can tell you for free that Senator Johnson was one of those who really brought President Weah into this power or into this government or into this presidency today. The people of Laymah used to listen to Senator Johnson from 2005 to 2017. But after he went and said that President Weah cannot go to the old man, to tell a little child cannot go to the old man and say, "Old man, wake up, let me sit down." It means that Senator Johnson cannot tell Ambassador Bogart's step down, let the little child go. The little child at the time which he was speaking of was President Weah. And after the election went, and it's ended between a unity party with CDC in a runoff, Senator Johnson came to the people of Laymah and said that they should support President Weah because, like you just said, he had all of the best in the world, European, so it will be a blessing to Liberia. So there maybe more donors will come to bring MGO. And Liberian felt greatly, impressed that yes, it will be. And Senator Johnson I don't know whatever was given to him during the agreement. I don't want to be very specific on that because of what I'm saying. But Liberians tried to back to Senator Johnson wording and his promises to the people of Laymah that Laymah will be great, that will be great under the regime of President Weah. Because Ambassador Boakai are well for NS 12 to That's his next 30 to 40 years, and he had brought nothing on the surface of Liberia. And we voted President Weah because of we felt that when young men come in our place, he would think about the youth. But now President Weah told what the country became very much high in terms of everything you may think of. And now the people of Nima lost respect. They lost total respect from from Senator Johnson. And Senator Johnson, in communication, sometimes whoever will play, sometimes will be on media. He always says that President Weah try to think. If you don't think I will go to Nigeria, I wish TB Joshua was living. I will go to Nigeria and hold my basket for you. But if not, you must think twice. You can't be president, be footballer. You are being a footballer, but now it's time for you to think critical about Liberia. You are president. But in quite recent time, President Weah were through Koji, they start writing all kind of about time truths on sort of various platform. We know where you're coming from. So Senator Johnson went and resigned, and he said their marriage with the CDC will be brought to standstill if the president don't know or don't check through the agreement, which are to do ambassadorial positions, ministerial positions, superintendent, and all the lists that were lists during the onset of their agreement. And so a few of this, Senator Johnson totally back off from the CDC, and he said President Weah is a joker. I come in. Senator President Weah is a joker. It's a promise breaker. But for Koji is one of those who really buy in the regime. He always attack people. So for Senator Johnson to say that he planning to assassinate, apparently it could be true. But let me tell you, this government is causing what we call calamity. The government is causing national enmity among people. I'm serving as national youth chair for Liberia Transformation Party. I'm here and I see what's going on. They came to power with zero. They were not having money. But they used duplicated account to say they had 90 million. But now the government want to use money to as acquisitions of getting vote, and all of things are involved into electoral processing.
Okay.
So I want to let you know that. Yeah. Yes.
Michael. Okay. I think that we have heard a lot from you, and the statement that Senator Johnson made is the focus, and we want to look at the key issues from the statement and whether or not this government is performing. That's one issue. And we will want to hear from Stalin to say what is his own. I know you haven't heard it, but I'm trying to see how I can upload the video. What would you think if Senator Johnson said that the government has underperformed, and for which reason he's thinking twice whether in fact he should give consideration to President Weah and his government for the second bid?
First of all, we got to get this right. Say anything you want to say about Prince Johnson or whatever, he is a politician. And politics is about interest. Prince Johnson is a politician. Get that straight. And politics is about interest. I listened to Prince Johnson. I listened to what he said. Now, it is political. What Prince Johnson is saying is political. But the fact remains that have the government performed on the promises the government made, generally speaking? Prince Johnson doesn't have to say it. We all know that the government has not met up with the promises. It doesn't have to come from the mouth of Prince Johnson. Everybody knows that the government have not lived up to the promises. Prince Johnson, what was sparking it to me was that Prince Johnson made a revelation that the government has not released the social development, county development fund that Aslam Meta gave Nima County. The three counties, Nima County, Bon County, and Grand Bassa County, Nima County is to get 1.5 million every year. Prince Johnson said that the government has not released that money. Now, that's the same question come back to you. That money is in the budget every single year. ArcelorMittal does not owe. ArcelorMittal posts the money in the budget. The money, I think it's about 2 million, 1.5 million goes to Laymah County, 800,000 or 900,000 goes to Grand Bassa County because they're using the port, and then I think 300 to 400,000 comes to Bon County because they're passing through Bon County. That money goes in the national budget. That money into the finance ministry budget. The finance ministry allocate that money to the counties. That money should be given to the counties. That money is not government money per se. That is different from taxes. But the money goes through the government escrow account. And the government has to give the money to the counties. The government for the past 5 years, according to Prince Johnson, owed Laymah County 7.5 million. So it tells you how much money the government have not given. So the question is that every year the budget is passed.
So 5.5 million. 5.5 million. 5.5 million.
5.5 million every year the budget is passed. What happens with the previous budget? The money has never given allocated. The budget will still come to the house. The guys will still sign the budget, and the budget will go. And the irony about it, they see Prince officers in the house. But every year the government will not give the money. The government says, "Gentlemen, you know what we get? You know Samuel Tua is a very, very good orator. An extremely powerful orator. Gave that to him. He knows how to talk. He talks very well. But the government has not given the money.
Prince Johnson is in the house and the budget is passing and they have not received that amount. So why didn't he complain that they didn't receive the money?
And the reason I guess according to Prince Johnson, he said he been having a series of meeting engagement with these guys. And it is based on that. You see, because here is the thing. I told you Prince Johnson is a politician. The only way you can hold these people is when it comes to election. This is the time that you can hold them. Unfortunately, they need Prince Johnson right now. That's the truth. They need votes. So right now they are ready to compromise. So the guy says that you guys don't owe me this amount of time. You have not paid me. You have not paid my county. We are not going to support you people. So the government is jittering. Don't be surprised that in the next few months that the government start to pay some of the money for them and start to pay some of the money to Laymah County because they want to appease Prince Johnson. That's the politics. But what a Prince Johnson will agree, because the question someone asking on the show the last time is that you raised two issues. You raised many issues, but two of the cardinal issues you raised was that number one, the government is owing your county 7. I heard from his mouth 7.5. Maybe 5.5 is now reduced. Maybe they pay $1.5 million. He said the government owed them 7.5. Now it's number one issue. He said the government promised him and his party that if they support, they were going to give Nibadi some ministerial position, which the government reneged on. The government had and some ambassadorial position. The government has not really appointed anybody from Laymah County as an ambassador. The government only have a Cooper Cry at the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication.
Post and Telecommunication.
Telecommunication. That's the only minister proper. And President, who is posting letter in this day and time? Because his mindset is that you must appoint Laymah men to lucrative position. He said Ministry of Post and Telecommunication is not lucrative. Nobody posting letter. But Ministry of Post and Telecommunication is more than posting letter. It's bigger than that anyway, but that's on the side. But the government has not met up with Prince Johnson's demands. And his demands are great. But the government on the other hand will say, bro, there's a political decision. It's not a law. We say we'll do this, we didn't do it. So okay, Prince Johnson say, okay, no problem. The time will come that you will need my support. And this is the time. So Prince Johnson, and this is the thing. This is also the time the Liberian people should also bluff the lawmakers and whoever coming to ask for the vote. Because this is the only time that we can hold these guys. They want to go back there to continue what they're doing, to continue getting their fat checks. If you don't vote them in, they will not go back there. But unfortunately, these guys knows how to manipulate the people. They will come and share burger rice, and people will forget about them. They will not.
So I mean, you make a very good point. But what I strongly looking at is that Prince Johnson, as senator of Laymah County, if and only if he's making demands because of wanting to get checks. Why can't he advocate for money to be placed in the budget for the county that he represents, rather than creating the situation? Let us assume that that's what he's doing. Create a scenario or create
a... the money for ArcelorMittal is he doesn't need to advocate. The money for ArcelorMittal is already in the budget. ArcelorMittal gives the county social development funds every year for using their place. That is not the taxes that ArcelorMittal pay. That money should come to the county. That money has not been coming to the county. The government sees the money.
Exactly.
Okay. And that's why let's agree. Let's base our argument on what you said. Government, the ArcelorMittal has paid, the social development package to the government.
Yes.
And that money, I'm sure, is in the national coffer. We will assume. I don't think they took that money and gave it to. I don't think they took that money and gave it to George Weah to say, yeah, this one is for the social development package that we have for Laymah County. I'm sure there is a specialized account at the Ministry of Finance. At the knowledge of the Ministry of Finance in one of those banks in Liberia. So then, when the money goes there, the money is intended for county development. Even the national budget has something there.
That's not how it works. The money goes to a consolidated account.
Right, which is part of the national budget, right?
General consolidated account.
Which is part of the national government national budget.
It's in figure. It's with the central bank. There's only the government through the LRA and one of the finance ministry can pull the money out. The money goes into a pool of funds. And yes,
is it not in the national?
That's very interesting. Let me just make the point. Prince Johnson said, which is a fact, that the government is running basically on the local domestic taxes they collect, which is inadequate because bulk of the people are not working. There are not much commercial activities in the country to generate enough domestic revenue. But that's what the government depends on. And number two, the government is borrowing. The government depends on credit, and the government depends on the minimal or small domestic taxes they collect. So guess what? The money the domestic taxes the government collect, which is inadequate to run the government, when it comes and money like the social development funds come, what the government is doing is what we call in Latin called D-hole and cover hole. The government has other expenditure. They clear money here. We not say on the County. We take the money and put the money here. But you heard the finance minister the last time on one of the shows. He said he had to take some of the money and use it to pay salary. The money that was meant for the road fund. He said the road fund was not necessary at the time. 26 was coming. There was no money for salary because they have not generated enough money. So they took the road fund money to pay salary. That is what is happening in the government. The government is not, there's no foreign direct investment pulling more funds into the country. So there's not much resources. So the resources available, the government is using to pay salary, and then also they don't have fiscal discipline. They spend like that. So the money is not being utilized. That's what is happening.
Yeah, but the issue now is Prince Johnson's statement at this diamond where there is elections about to go on. He's a serious force within the government. Last elections, Prince Johnson in Laymah County, without their percentage, I'm not sure whether George Weah would have become president. So and only if Prince Johnson at this time is issuing threat to the CDC government, what do you think? Can George Weah, get a needed vote that will even place him in the second round, for a runoff?
Thank you so much. Money fools or anyone who really don't know a way about or her way about doing things. President Weah, money other fools in the government who doesn't have the popularity And when in listening to somebody in government as a president, you want to be looking at that person's numerical strength. President have been very bad to other counties, but the people of Nima are desperately angry with President Weah because he makes proliferation of promises.
Michael, are you from Nima County? Sorry for asking you, but because it's like you're speaking for the people of Nima County, and
I'm from Nima, but I'm a national activist. I don't speak about one county, but because if Senator Johnson would have supported Ambassador Bwaka in 2017, definitely you yourself you can imagine, or you have known to yourself that Joseph Bwaka would have become the president of the president.
Right,
so right now, even whether they pay by the National Social Development Fund from ArcelorMittal to the people of Nima, for all of the statements have been made by Senator Johnson. In my own perspective or in my own capacity, I don't think Senator Johnson can go by now and support President Weah, because they will call him a national political joker. You understand me?
But do you trust? Do you trust Prince Johnson and that he will not support the CDC?
I don't trust him because when it comes to issue we're discussing the way it's been laid out, I don't trust him. That's why he's not my political leader. My political leader is Reverend Karen G. Sandy. I believe I can give full accountability to Reverend Sandy, but not as compared to Senator Johnson. Because he one of those who.
Let's go back.
I come in, sir. He one of those who help us to go into the cure, because bringing men the president, we don't know his administration. You know, my administrative, they are very administrative in all of their capacities. You know, one of those sources who brought the nation to a kind of disgrace.
Okay, Michael, thank you so much. Tutu, let's look at it on a very serious note. You have followed last elections. I'm sure you may have seen the percentages from the different counties, so to speak. Prince Johnson is indeed a force when it comes to Nima County, which being one of the largest voting bloc. What do you think? Do you think? I know what you're going to say. I will assume because you are a candidate. So I know definitely you're going to say Joe is not going to win. But I want you to be very realistic. Do you think Prince Johnson, threat is something to take serious?
Well, I think yes. I think the way Liberians vote, they vote on tribal lines. They vote they vote not on policy or on issues. They vote because they're part of, they vote at basically what you call soccer clubs. That's what you have in Liberia. Nobody can tell you what issue Joseph Boga stands for and what issue Gongolo stands for, and your decision to vote for Joseph Boga or Gongolo is based primarily on those issues or facts. So that's the problem we have with every voting population. And in a case like that, anybody and even a guy like Prince Johnson, who, we're accusing George Weah of bad administration, but you have a senator here. What kind of build have this man in the last 12 plus years? Okay, the job we're just talking about, the elevate, the thing we're talking about, the national budget. What is his contribution in terms of developing our country, other than the fact that he's a Guillaume man and Guillaume people will follow him just because he's a Guillaume man? This is the problem in our country. On the one hand, we say we want change, we want development, we want to be like, Ghana, we want to be like Senegal, we want to be like Seychelles. But the things that we do as a people, they're contrary to those things. Nobody votes on any issue or based on any ideology in Liberia for the most part. That is, man, is supporting Darius.
I will agree with you. I will agree with you.
I don't know that. Let me just land.
Yeah, I would
to say,
okay.
Santa Claus can win election in Liberia. If you get enough of your tribal people behind you, you can win. But what's the implication in the long term? Liberia will continue to be the poorest country in the world. What our national development fund of a few $1 million go to Nima County or not? The mortality rate in Liberia will be very high, and there will be no development. You owe $1.7 billion debt right now. We're on a $3 billion economy. You have senators and representatives who can't even read budget, who don't even, if you get in the asset and the liability on the budget, they don't even know the difference. So how are you going to have a country, a young population that, what's the example? And then the people that who's supposed to be at least, who should know better, who should at least say, no, we can't vote like this. We're the oldest country in Africa. Look at the other countries. Those people are the one ingrained in this corruption and this political, wrangling to no benefit for themselves or the entire country. That's just the dilemma in Liberia. UN got tired, UN left. UN got tired with Liberia and said the people are not serious people. They pulled up their staff and they left.
No,
they just got
because their mandate. Their mandate.
Why you think that
they have accomplished what they came to accomplish?
Hold on now.
You guys said we're not serious. They have accomplished what they came to accomplish.
You spoke for 12 minutes. I sat down patiently and listened. I asked you a question. I sat down and I listened to you because I want to learn you something. I even
Len. Alex.
You died the other man. I sat down and listened to people for 15 minutes. So you just want me to.
Alex, can you land, Alex?
Okay. But you ask me a question, you gotta give me a turn. If you're gonna
I get it,
now because something that you don't like. Okay. My perspective here is on this issue is that Liberians are not serious. We shouldn't be discussing a man like Prince Johnson in our national economy. We shouldn't be discussing a man like Boaka in our national economy. These are not people that have contributed to any major development. These are people that have taken tens of thousands of dollars, educated their children in Western countries on government salary. When they're sick, they leave the country, whereby the ordinary Liberians there have to go to JFK and suffer and die. And we stand behind these very same people and call them leaders. So I will land on that point, maybe something for Liberians to think about.
But Juju, let me just ask a question to you. These guys did not come to power by people not voting them. The same people you're talking about, the same people voted them into power. And the same people going to vote them back into power.
And why is that? The reason is very simple.
Okay. What is the reason?
You rely on the educated people to lead the masses. You rely on those who go to school to show the light for those who don't go to school. Whether in America, yeah. So hold on here. So if you listen, if you vote any not just Africa, you go to Botswana, you go to Kenya, and you listen to the conversation on a radio station, there are substantive issues they're talking about. They're not talking about vote for Rota because he's from this tribe. Here's a man who, and they say he's almost a billionaire. He has farm in the country. He worked in government. You have a record. They're discussing records. They are discussing policy. I give an example of Kenya. I can give you the example of Botswana. Okay. So when people like you guys now who claim your no Liberian politics that has taken nobody anywhere, when you don't educate the public why you should elect a man like Darius DeLong, who literally has nothing tangible to offer. You're a senator, you don't go write bill. You don't have to propose one bill. You go and have a talk show, instead of doing your job of subpoenaing members, of the government and making sure that
look and not subpoena any government official, bro.
What are you talking about?
The issue for which we brought about Prince Johnson was to look at it in 2 dimensions.
But it's the same thing with
what you're saying. What you're saying.
What I'm saying right now.
I don't agree with it. I think what you're saying is his perspective is good. It's in line with the discussion.
It's not one issue. It's a
complex issue. So you can narrow it down.
So can we look at the second aspect as to Prince Johnson's own information that Jefferson Koji is planning a plot
Why would
to
I care?
assassinate him.
Why would I care?
Why
would
don't
I
you?
see if it was true or
Wouldn't
untrue?
that destabilize the country? Wouldn't that bring
Would it-
about
I think
chaos,
for me, I think it's a
confusion?
political blow.
That's not an issue that I think Liberians should worry about. Yet there's a man who, with all any inclination, supported George Weah. Yes, a man for the last 5 years, so long as he gets what he wants, or his gear amount of people can get position. So his only advocate say, yeah, it's not for Liberia development. It's so that gear amount of people can get ambassadorial position, and that's the issue he's talking about. Why would I be worried about that man? Why would I even be discussing him?
For me,
right now he's serving as a senator. It doesn't matter whether we like him or not, right? But
Definitely.
sitting senator, let us agree, or let us think as though the information that he's revealing is true, that there is a plan by the city mayor.
But do you think that?
But that's what Prince Johnson also said. That's what Prince Johnson also said. Prince Johnson also said that the boys that work with Darius DeLong, I mean not Darius DeLong, but Jefferson Koji, most of the boys used to work for him when they were on the base. He said the boys are on his base. Take it or leave it. A military man is a military man. The discipline he learned from military training is still with him. I think and I believe that even though Jefferson Koji has the government backing, whatever, Jefferson Koji will know he has a notorious record of recent and he abuses his power. But I think Jefferson Koji does not have the capacity to come against Prince Johnson in any form and manner. I think Jefferson Koji doesn't have the capacity. He doesn't have the technicality to come against Prince Johnson.
He's certainly
and I'm not a supporter of Prince Johnson. I'm just giving based on the record.
I know.
Yeah.
But they have certainly had the capacity politically and economically to crush Prince Johnson. Because Prince Johnson...
I agree with you to that extent. Economically,
Correct.
They can suffocate the county because that's what they're doing.
And that's why
that's what they're doing.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We will just give 30 seconds for your closing comments. We far behind our closing time. So 30 seconds. I believe that if Prince Johnson, if he fear that he's being threatened, I think this complaint should be a formal one, not only on the news media. It should be written. It should be something that maybe they how you call them,
the Justice Ministry, right?
NSA or Justice Ministry, all those people, they should launch an investigation. You should can't just come on the air and talk that. So I believe whatever it is, if it's true, then we should hear from those different agencies that this is the investigation we have opened to see whether the allegation is true. So we will leave it like that, and we will take our closing comment 30 seconds, not more than 30 seconds.
Before then, we have one of the topics we didn't really go into. Maybe everybody in our closing comment can say a word or two. Laymah Gbowee's request for Joseph Boakai to abstain from the 2023 elections.
Yeah.
Okay, let me be the first.
You can say something about that. So we want to start with Michael. Your closing comments, 30 seconds. I'm watching my clock.
Okay, thank you. For my party comment, I say thank you so much for this show, for breaking up together. You know, though we are probably discuss some, but when it comes to issues like this, also it can bring again, uplighting the minds of our people. And I would love for you people breaking veterans and other experienced people on this platform to discuss critical national issue. But with Laymah Gbowee, it's highly political because she has been really, bragging and into the meddling, in the Liberian politics. I don't know where she stands and who she stands with. So that's why she on her own. I can't decide for that. I can't speak on that. And I'm sorry for the darkness too for this night because no LEC is the same politics going on. But I want to say thank you, and I'm always willing to be a parcel of this discussion us way. And
before you leave, Michael, Before you leave, Marco, where is your political standard bearer? Is he going to partake in the 2020 election? Just quick question.
But
Answer.
very sure Reverend Kennedy Sandy is running. Liberation Formation Party is vanquished, is remain supreme as he has been.
I have a concern because Reverend Sandy is only in Liberia, or he's only on the scene when it's time for elections. What happened when there's no elections? What happened to all the things that are going on in the lives of Liberians? Is he not concerned, or he is only concerned about the presidency?
No, not for that. Let me tell you,
his voice. We have not heard his voice. All the
Madam Blair, you are right. You know, the LTP through Reverend Kennedy Sandy, we have been very much silent because we wanted to give chance to this government. The way those guys,
advocating for the people and be silent. I disagree.
I'm coming. We were very, very peaceful and silent. We wanted to give chance. We wanted Liberians who were all in the street, to see themselves that this government is an inattitude government. The government cannot take us anywhere. So now we are waking up from our slumber, our various slumbers, to be able to mount the pulpit to let the people know that this government is very incapable, and the government is not the mature, it's not the deliverable for we the Liberian youth and all in totality. So the government, representative is back. He been here, representative been here almost. You spent the whole of last year. Yeah, I used to be back to back testing you, but you were not understanding it. But Reverend Kennedy Sandy is running, and mind you, we're going to win the election council. This 2023. This 2023, LTP going to win the election.
Thank you, Michael. We'll bring Reverend Sandy on this platform so we can ask him all the questions. Please, it's going to be formal, but before we send the formal communication, let him know, okay? Thank you so much for gracing that platform. We want to come
the message already resonating. You already hearing you, because we are into it and we must sacrifice for it, and we are into it.
Thank you. Stanley?
Well, I think it was
but why Jones just laughing? Mr. Jones just laughing.
Hey, Michael, thank you very much. We want to listen to Stanley, please.
The question I have for you is because the Rebbe is from your county, that's why you're supporting him when he has not done anything, he has not shown any plan to Liberian people. So why are you supporting?
Reverend Sandy is not from my county, for point of correction.
Okay,
Reverend Sandy is from Grand Kemo County. Okay. So I support leader and I support tribalism.
Mr. Jones, your closing comment, not time for a question.
Well, I hope the people.
Wait, sorry. That Sally is on the floor.
It was. I mean, it was a very healthy. It was interesting. I'm excited, engaging, and Chuchu is quite engaging. I like the engagement, and I think and Mrs. Jensen and Madam Blair, and then my man Michael. It was a good discussion. We need this kind of a discussion to move our governance and politics forward. We have to discuss the issues. We have to bring critical analysis of the issues. We got to be bold. We got to speak to the issues. We got to speak to the issues without fear or favor. And we have to be objective. And my comment and respond to the Prince Johnson issue was I've never supported Prince Johnson. I'm not a supporter of Prince Johnson, but I'm just being objective. And what Prince Johnson said is just a fact. And we must agree that Prince Johnson is a politician, and as a politician, is an issue of interest anywhere in the world. Get that? But unfortunately, in Liberia, is personal interest, and other places is national interest. It's a constituent interest, but back there it's just personal interest. Take more preeminence over everything. And on the statement from Laymah Gbowee, I think Laymah Gbowee has been known as someone who says her mind, whether you like it or not. And here's an irony about Liberia and our people. When a major figure, when they say something and it favors your side, the person is a champion. The person is good. He has spoken. But when they see persons, because there was a lady who, when she criticized Ellen, CDC and the rest of the guys, they were hailing her. Everybody hailed her when she criticized Ellen. She was a darling girl of everybody. The scene Laymah Gbowee was invited for an Independence Day ceremony. She introduced the in position, out of position, and no position. The whole nation took it. Everybody praised her for courageousness, because it was very courageous on her part to be invited by the president and speak the way she spoke with the president. Everybody encouraged. Everybody said the scene Laymah Gbowee was a few times ago when she said that people have been coming to her to serve as vice president, and she said no, the opposition should unite. She's not interested. Everybody said, oh, the woman is very objective. Now the scene Laymah Gbowee has also now spoken and said the former vice president should retire. Now everybody's and people are insulting her. My conclusion is that
you more than 3 minutes now.
My conclusion,
are you my time? Are you my time?
And I will conclude. Laymah Gbowee's statement is her view. That's her opinion.
That's right.
It's not medically unsatisfied to say, oh, she spoke as a medical practitioner. She spoke as an activist. She spoke her mind. And the statement she made that, in the statement that the others are not considering, she said, the political future of Liberia rests in the hands of the Unity Party. That should tell you that she puts the Unity Party in a very high pedestrian.
That's
that
right.
Unity Party can determine the political future of the country. That is, if whether Joseph Boakai is the Senate bearer or not, she's saying that Unity Party has the political future
people, to take
the
over.
country. So she has put the Unity Party in a position, which of course is we know Unity Party came second to the city. But that's her opinion, you understand me? And we should not insult her for her opinions. But in conclusion, I wish the former vice president speedy recovery. We should not play politics with his health. Anybody can get sick. And I just pray the former vice president have some time to rest and recover. And because your health comes first.
Thank you, Sterling. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
No, this is sure. I like the engagement by both Michael and Stanley. I like fiery, crossfire. I don't like the jersey of the side, the bitter press. But also, it was a very good show. Thanks for all your comments, and I think I learned a lot. And hopefully, wherever I could contribute. In terms of, I think Laymah Gbowee is a state woman. I think she's one of the best Liberia has produced. And like Stanley said, she's been somebody who will stand up for what's right and stand against what is wrong. And you don't find a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
And in Liberian politics, everybody just go away. What's popular? I think me and her are the only people who can speak our mind. But the records are there. And Liberians can get more people like that. We are not going anywhere. And as far as when it comes to, I wish the old man's health is recovering. But the truth about the matter is, Joseph Boakai is too old to run Liberia. And anybody who does not understand that, they're just plain, naive. Okay? The job of running a country is very physical. It's very physical. And it requires also a lot of, it requires a lot of movement in a country, around the country, participating on programs. I mean, we've been here for 2 hours. Do you think Open Boakai could have endured this show here for the last 2 hours? So let us not kid ourselves. The Unity Party made a grave mistake. They put the whole party future in the hands of one individual, as all the other parties in Liberia, the same with the Liberty Party with Pomsky. And these people are not immortal. One day they're gonna go. One day I'm gonna go. One day Prince Joseph is gonna go. Now we'll see what the give amount of people will do. One day Joseph Boakai gonna go. So you cannot build an institution behind one person and put all your trust in that person. Jesus Christ came, he died. The gospel still continued because he prepared other people. And So let's stop this thing here with this name and this personality politics. and let go behind ideas and philosophy. And I think there will be hope. So I back her comment 100% that and she's speaking, I think, out of love and respect for the man. The man is, I mean, he will just be an embarrassment if he wants, or even if he wins. So thank you for the time, and I hope to come back again some other time with this.
Thank you. Jensen?
Well, I think I want to say thanks to the presidential aspirant. He's always firing. That's good. And to our guest, Starling, right? Starling, are you related to Starling? Oh, okay, Garnet. You related to Samuel Garnet?
Sandal?
You know Sam Garnet? Samuel Garnet?
That Ben Garnet.
Okay.
The bank.
We'll talk about the relationship after the program.
Okay.
Now your tongue going.
All right. Okay, I want to say thanks to all of you guys for coming. On the issue of Prince Johnson, Prince Johnson should be treated as a senator. If people believe that Prince Johnson should be prosecuted, the way to go about it is to take the TRC report and pursue it. And if Prince Johnson allegation that Jefferson Koji is planning a plot, I think that should be something condemned. It's not because of Prince Johnson being a former warlord, but this is election year. My own concern is to have a peaceful elections this year. Everything that will lead to election must be taken very seriously. Politicians should be allowed the space to do what they can do best. And they have elections, those who want to contest, registered and contest. And they should be defeated on the basis of the will of the people. That's one aspect. Laymah Gbowee's statement, I will agree with the two speakers. She spoke out of her mind freely, and I go with her. Joseph Boakai is ill, right? And that's one thing that I am thinking Liberians are too deceptive when it comes to the kind of an issue. If Joe Biden gets sick here, it will be announced. Mm-hmm. The Pennsylvania Governor Wolf, this man had a very serious illness. He was on television discussing his illness. Everybody can get sick. So if Joseph Boakai is sick, those who are around him should be able to understand if Joseph Boakai is able to contest elections and win elections and govern for 6 years. If he can, the party should be able to look for somebody else. Election is still far ahead. No one has done any registration. If the old man is sick, why can't the old man? That's why Laymah Gbowee said, let the old man rest. Let him enjoy his grandchildren. Let opposition political party put themselves together. That was some part of her statement. And I think she was very honest in saying those things. Mm-hmm. So on the LFA and we still can be asking the questions and probably reach out to somebody. A patient still my team, probably can reach out to Daros Dillon and see whether he can appear on the show and maybe give us some insight on what is happening to LFA. Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure sitting with all of you fine gentlemen and lady.
All right. Thank you, guys.
We're not done yet. We close here. I want to say thank you to our panelists tonight, Michael, Starling, and the presidential aspirant, Mr. Jones. And I also want to say thank you to my co-host, James Jensen. I also want to say thank you to Minnesotans. You know, we got a powerful team in Minnesota here. There was a letter that came from the Foreign Ministry for the closure of the consulate here in Minnesota. And this consulate served the Midwest. So we're talking about North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Chicago, including Minnesota. And there was the closure was supposed to be today, which is the 17th of January, and that letter was written on the 13th. But the community here in Minnesota, they so together when it comes to issues that affect them. and so they were properly able to engage foreign ministry and send a communication to the president that they needed to speak with the community before they make any change. And I want to commend the GOL for listening to the plight of the people. And that whole process is on hold for the next 3 months. And I believe that the communities will be, discussing this issue, and it will come out to a better solution, because it is very, very difficult. It inconvenience people to be traveling from Minnesota here, to go to Washington or to go to New York to get your visa or to have a passport. But for this news is a good development, is a great thing, and I believe that a lot of Liberians, they are happy about the outcome of today's communication. So we also want to say thank you to the government of Liberia. We also want to say thank you to the community here in Minnesota and all the leadership that made sure that they advocated for the consulate to be open. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to our viewers for watching us tonight, and we will be back here on the 2A Radio Roundtable. So thank you so much, and we see again another time. Have a good
Can I make one comment?
rest of your night.
No, thank you to the Liberian government. They should have thought it over before they made such a foolish decision. It's just a waste of time. Thank you.
We still want to say thank you. We still want to say thank you.
I agree with you.
They should think before they do things.
Y'all good night. Y'all please stay after we close.
Okay.